Hello everyone, thanks again for watching one of my videos. This is a follow-up to the review that I did for Mirror to the Sky, and it's a short one, but I just wanted to do a quick further video with my comments, having listened to the album almost on repeat. Basically I had it in the car, so the first video I did was really after the first hearing, which is probably a mistake. I mean, if I remember when I first bought a relayer at the age of 16, 17, yeah, I couldn't make head or tail of it other than it was the most amazing thing I'd ever heard, but I needed 2 or 3, 4 listens to actually start to understand it and start to get a feel for it, and obviously eventually love it. So really it is a mistake to do an initial response, I think, on any Yes album. But anyway, I think I was kind of in myself feeling maybe more positive than I should have been, and I just felt like I wanted to say it. So, having familiarised myself with it, I think I've settled into what I think about the album. Fairly short and sweet, this one. I haven't listened to the Blu-ray yet. We moved house not long ago, and I haven't fully set up my main Blu-ray downstairs. I've got a sort of cheap Blu-ray thing here, but that again isn't set up properly yet, so I will have a listen to that to see what this Dolby Atmos gives us. But this is just talking really about the 6 tracks that make the album, not the bonus tracks really at the moment. So it's an album with 6 tracks as far as I'm concerned. And I think what I would say is it's not Yes. Don't think really anything they've done in recent years is Yes, as people my age understand it to be and feel it to be. It may be a generational thing, because I've seen lots of positive reviews of the album, generally from people slightly younger than myself, but being stuck in the 70s and what Yes did then, I don't think anything they're really doing now is comparable, and it probably never will be comparable. So what we haven't got any depth, we haven't got any pulling of the emotions. I find it relatively soulless, and that sort of starts to make you think, well, is this music that I would really want to listen to if it hadn't got the Yes tag on it? And I think the reality is some of it, oh yes, I do still quite like it. The tracks themselves, cut from the stars, it's got some interest to it, and it's clearly been worked on with a bit of care. There are some good ideas, and yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not boring. It's not, you know, unchanging. There's enough of interest in there, but the overall feel for me is not necessarily something that I've got to really listen to that again. I really like that track, I want to put that on again. So I don't get the emotional response, I suppose, that I do to old Yes music. All Connected, I have to say, for me, I probably think it's the least favourite track of mine on the album. Some people seem to pick this out as a really good one for them. I would say it's not really connected well. The ideas, to me, they don't flow in a nice way, they don't connect in a nice way, and it's overly long. So yeah, whilst it's got a lot of the attributes of Cut from the Stars to a certain extent, can't really distinguish them in my head. They're very similar in style and approach. So I don't really rate that track for me. Um, but Luminosity, I think, has grown on me quite well. I think this is primarily a John Davidson track, and they've developed it from, according to the booklet, the song that he really presented to the band. And yeah, I think it's not an unpleasant listen. It's not offensive. Um, Still doesn't move me. I don't get any sort of emotional response at all. So it kind of it just does that. It's just okay, but it's probably better than okay. Um, I did make a note that there's a vocal section that leads into the big guitar climax at the end, which once you've familiarised yourself with it, I think is pretty nice actually. Steve Howe's guitaring on that. But for me, if he lowered the register on that vocal introduction, so come down a key or just brought the voice lower, it would have introduced the guitar so much more effectively. So in other words, is you sort of just come down and then the guitar takes off. Whereas because it's all going up here, and then all of a sudden you've got the guitar take off. For me, that doesn't work as well. Right, I've got these sort of quirky ideas, that things that I like. But it's an okay track. I think it's a pretty good track. Probably my favourite on side one. Side two, again talking about the vinyl. Living Out Their Dream. I think I commented that I thought this was one of the better tracks when I first heard it. My reasoning for that, I think, was largely because John Davidson's high vocals weren't there. But Steve Howe's quirky guitar and a bit playful fun on it, I think also worked. So yeah, it was a more immediate track. But of course, with immediacy comes lack of longevity. So I think having heard it repeatedly in the car driving around, I've got a bit tired of it. That doesn't say that the song's any less than I thought it was, but I think it's just one of those interesting things for me. Whereas if I really sort of hear something that's immediate, it often doesn't stand the test of time. So that brings us on to the title track, and I want to say a bit about this because I think that Yes have missed a big trick here, and I think with a little bit of change this could have been a real standout track. I really like it. I really enjoy listening to it, and I probably would put it on a mixtape if they do such a thing these days, with other Yes stuff. And I think that it's well structured. It's got nice melodies. I think the playing and the singing are really nice. Again, it hasn't got the sort of ridiculous high vocals all the time, and yeah, I think it's a very good track. Probably one of the best tracks that Yes have done, certainly since Fly From Here, I would say. But they've missed a trick because, in my view, it's too short. If they'd extended it by 3, 4 or 5 minutes possibly, I think it could have been almost a true Yes epic. What I mean by that is the themes that come and go. There's multiple themes in typical Yes style, you could say, where there's 3, 4, or 5 different themes in it. Um, you get to the end section and you've got this lovely um, acoustic guitar. I mean, there's not enough acoustic guitar on this album, and you know, it finally reveals itself on this track, doesn't it? I mean, come on, let's have a bit more acoustic guitar with some of these Yes tracks. Um, so you've got this lovely theme that's played acoustically, and then you've got this takeover by the orchestra with the strings, um, and just as in the olden days, so they're playing themes. I think there's 2 or 3 themes that they join together very quickly, with this little brief orchestral interlude where everything else has stopped and suddenly you're sort of soaring away on these violins. And yeah, it's got a really nice and then bang, we're back into the track. The first thing I'd say is that bang isn't big enough. I think you should have absolutely power chords going on there, whereas Steve's playing is too picky for me, although it's made loud on the mix. Really sort of jolt you out of your seat power chord there with full volume, everybody going hell for leather. That's what that moment needed. So the moment's good, but it could have been much better, and it could have been one of those moments that, blimey, you know, we're off here. But anyway, so slightly missed opportunity, I think, there. But the worst thing is that it lasts about another minute or so, and then the whole thing just finishes. And to me, that was crying out for recapitulation of one or more of the earlier themes, build it all up again, bring it all back, you know, however you want to say, close to the edgy, Gates of Delirium-y, ritually. You know, classic Yes songs have had this coda section which, you know, you've sort of calmed down, you've had this warmth washing over you, or you've had this deep meaningful experience, and then you've got this powerful ending. And I think they could have really gone for a 19-20 minute track, done something that wouldn't have needed a lot of writing, but just rearranging of those earlier themes, because I think the themes are strong enough to do that. And you could have really driven it. I mean, that is one of my favourite Yes tracks, certainly from the Keys sessions. And the way that finishes, with everything sort of pounding until the last chord, if you like, is an example of, you know, what this needed to finish the track. So that was my thought. So it was kind of I think it's a missed opportunity, and if they had done something like that and created that from that already long piece, Yes fans would have loved it, because, you know, a side-long epic, how long has it been since I've been waiting for one of those? And I think Mirror to the Sky is strong enough to do it with. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. And Circles of Time, yeah, just a light sort of way to end the album. Whether you could have still had that on at the end, maybe dispense with Living Out Their Dream or whatever, but you've got to, if you did Mirror to the Sky as a full 20-minuter, then you've got to restructure the whole thing, which I agree on vinyl is difficult, but CD, come on, get 84 minutes, can't you? So that's all really I wanted to say. I think I'll drop into it maybe now and again. Certainly play the title track, but for me, I think much of the rest of it will be forgotten in 6 months' time. I mean, I listen mostly to classical music these days, but I like my, you know, if I'm listening to sort of rock, I still like the quirkiness. I mean, obviously all the 70s stuff I still listen to. Rush, Genesis, Floyd, etc. But I like quirky stuff like Björk does these days. I like Neil Young's more unusual uh, stuff that he does. And let's face it, he's mellowing massively these days. But yeah, so I like something that's slightly different from certainly what Yes are doing. But yeah, title track, Sugati. Okay, that's it for now. If I do listen to the Blu-ray and it's different again, or gives me anything different to say, I might do another one. But that's probably it from Mirror to the Sky from me. So thanks for watching, and thanks for all your comments as always, and we'll see you again for the next video.